Well, hello guys and welcome back to Mr. G Physics, the channel that can help you to improve your marks in physical sciences from grade 8 to grade 12. This is Mr. G and today we're going to be solving a question on vertical projectile motion. Why we are going to do this one? Because it may be a problem for the exams. Remember, this topic is going to be every time you write in exams in grade 12 from March to the end of the year, and this was the test that my learners did write in March 2024. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe for the channel so you can get all the notification and videos I post on regular basis. The question says, a girl stands on a platform on a classroom. She throws a ball vertically down to the floor, hoping that the ball, after it bounces on the floor, will hit the ceiling of the classroom. She throws the ball at the speed of 8 meters per second. And it's important that this one is the initial speed of the ball. Initial speed is equal to 8 meters per second. It is down, so that is the velocity. They say from a height of 1.8 meters above the floor. Ignore the effect of friction. And here's a big picture. The initial velocity of the ball was at this specific point, and that was 8 meters per second. Okay, and the ball was thrown down. That is important in this specific question. And if the height of that building from the height from which the ball was thrown was 1.8 meters per second. If the motion of the ball while it is moving down towards the floor at free fall, choose your from yes or no. And guys, the answer is yes. Now why? Because the only force acting is the gravitational force. Quite simple. There is 1 mark for saying yes and 1 mark for saying the only force acting is gravitational force. Note the following. The word only is important. That is the only force acting. Okay? So you cannot just say because gravitational force is there. Question 3.2. Calculate the speed with which the ball hit the floor. And this question 3.2, we can do it here. Question 3.2 is quite simple. The data is in the picture, guys. We have 1.8, that is the displacement. So we don't have to write all the data because it's in the picture. Now, however, I'm going to write down is positive. Direction is always important. Now, why did I select down as positive? Because the object is moving only down, so it wouldn't make sense to say up is positive here. The only data that is not here is the acceleration due to gravity, which is equal to 9, let's write it a little bit higher here, is equal to 9.8 meters per second square downward. I'm going to write just down. That is the acceleration due to gravity. And saying that, what formula can we use? So if we look at the formulas that we are going to be given in the exam, we must always go there, guys. We have that the easiest one is v square, v final square is equal to v initial square plus 2 times acceleration, in this case is due to gravity, multiplied by the displacement. You don't have to write g or y, you can write a and x and you'll get all the marks. So we're looking for the final velocity. The initial one is 8 meters per second positive because it's downward, plus 2 multiplied by 9.8 multiplied by the displacement, which is 1.8. Then the final velocity is going to be equal to 9.96 meters per second. And they are asking you to calculate the speed. Speed, guys, doesn't have a direction. Okay, so this is the answer. Quite simple. And then the marks are 1 for the formula, 1 for the 8 square, 1 for the 2 times 9.8 times 1.8, and 1 for the final answer. All right. So, and maybe I'm just going to write here that speed is scalar. And scalar quantity. So this is the first time, or the first part of the question. We already could have quite simple 6 mark out of 13. The question now is coming a little bit more. You can say the ball bounces inelastically on the floor where the speed of the ball decreases by 20%. So this ball the speed decreases from 9,6, 20% of 9,6. So the first thing we're going to do is to determine what is 20% of 9,6. Okay, so we have now, how do I do this one? I say 9,96 represent the 100%. Okay, this is simple mathematics, guys. Okay, now 20%, how much will represent, and I do a cross product here, so I'll get that is 100x equal to 9,96 multiplied by 20, and that gives me that x is going to be equal to 1,992. Now what is this? This is 20% of 9,96. Okay, but the question said that the speed decreases by 20%. So with what speed did the ball bounces on the floor? With 9,96 minus the 20%, which is 1,992. So this one will give me the speed of the ball with which the ball leaves the ground. Okay, which actually we can write it there to save some space. Let me move it here a little bit and let me write here. This is going to be equal to 7,968 meters per second. This is the speed with which the ball leaves the ground. Okay, which is the 9,96 minus it 20%, because the ball decreases by 20%. So I hope this is clear, because it's important. Now we are going to calculate the question. Say calculate, check whether the ball will hit the ceiling after bounces off the floor. So we have to calculate how far from the floor is the ball going to go. Now we have new data here, so let's write the new data here for this question. We have that the initial velocity, which is going to be equal to 7,968 meters per second upward. Therefore, if we say down is positive, and we're going to keep it that way for this question as well, then this one is negative. Okay, and we have to calculate how high will go that ball from the ground. It's not that bad, guys. It's really not that bad. So what formula can we use here? We're looking for the displacement, because we have this one, but we need to know how high will the ball go from the ground. So we are going to use the same formula. Final velocity square is equal to initial velocity square plus 2 times acceleration due to gravity multiplied by the displacement, which is what we are looking for. We need to know how high from the ground will be the ball. So what is going to be the final velocity? Is going to be 0, because it's going to be the final velocity of the maximum height of the ball after it bounces. So this one is going to be equal to minus 7,968 square plus 2 times 9,8 positive, I say down is positive, multiplied by the displacement. We are looking for that displacement there. Okay, so let's now rearrange this one or calculate. So we have here that 0 is equal to 63,49. Let's round off to 49 plus 19,6 delta y, and when rearrange and calculate here, we get the final answer is minus 3,24 meters. The minus means upward. So 3,24, the ceiling is 3,5. It therefore no, it will not hit the ceiling. And this is the answer. It will not reach the ceiling, because we get that it will reach a maximum height of 3,24. The minus just means that is upward. So the final answer here, guys, the marking is 1 for the formula, 1 for the substitution of 0 and 7,968, one for the substitution of 2 times 9,8 times the displacement, and one for the final answer to say that no, it will not reach the ceiling. So that is 1, 2, 3, and 4 mark. It is more tricky than actually looks, and that's it. Now the next question says sketch a velocity time graph for the motion of the ball from the time the ball is thrown until it reaches the maximum height after the bounces. Clearly show the following in your graph, and they ask you few things here. Okay, first of all, the axis. We obviously need the axis. Second, we're going to take down as positive. We're going to take down as positive because throughout the whole question we took down as positive. Okay, so saying that, what was the initial velocity of that ball? Because we say down is positive, it is positive 8. That was the velocity with which the ball was thrown from certain height. Doesn't matter the height. With what velocity does the ball reaches the ground? 9,96. So we go all the way to 9,96. So it's go that is from 8 to 9,96. How long? We don't have the time. They don't ask about the time. So it's going to be straight line from 8 to 9,96. That is the first part of the graph. Now what happened there? The ball bounces. It changed direction. So it will go all the way to the negative axis because it's now changed direction to a negative number. What is the velocity with which the ball leaves the ground? We already calculated, and that was 7,968. That was the velocity with which the ball leaves the ground, but negative because we say down is positive, and when the ball bounces, it bounces upward. It means it's going to be here. At this point is when the ball leaves the ground. This is not an accurate drawing. Maybe we can make it a little bit more up here. For instance, here that is going to be 7,968. That was the velocity with which the ball leaves the ground. 7,968. Alright, meters per second. That is the initial velocity with which the ball leaves the ground, and this is going to be a parallel line up until reaches the x-axis, because at that specific point, at this specific point, the ball is at maximum height. Alright guys, this is what the question asking for. These two lines need to be parallel line, and this is the end of the question. Quite simple. I hope you understand. If you understand, don't forget to subscribe for the channel, to thumb up, to write messages, to share, and I'll see you next time. Mr. G here.